That's right.
This is a lot of pressure.
And so, can Monica, can you sing us a note?
Art Trust. That's all I got. I can't
Break it
repeat the
down.
hallelujah.
Are we live now? Are we live now?
Yeah,
Are we
we're
starting
live
over?
now. Do the intro over again. Sorry about that, guys.
All right. Well, this is Dr. Roderick Brame introing again with the Brain Trust for the Art City Arts. And we have a special guest with us today is Ferdinand DeJesus, and we'll learn more about him in a moment. But first, we need some musical entree to our event. And so, Monica, can you please sing us a note?
Oh, man. What is the Flight of the Valkyries? How does that go
What about
again?
that high note? Or
Not high note.
do some Led Zeppelin, something.
Oh, didn't, 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 doodle-doodle-doodle. Thank you. That's all I got. Oh, let the sunshine. However it goes.
It's kind of
There we go.
scratchy.
Freddie, that's a pretty high note.
Yeah.
Maybe you went beyond what we can record.
Good thing we
so-
don't have glass cups.
We'll just go around the room and introduce ourselves again, and then we'll start with we'll let Freddie make a statement, and then we'll ask some questions and whatever, interact. So,
Greetings, hello. My name is Rachel Brame, and I'm here with Dr. Brame, representing R&R Artworks, and passing along to Freddie.
Yeah, my name is Ferdinand DeJesus, legally, but I go by Freddie.
Ferdinand the Bull.
Ferdinand the Bull, who liked to
Yeah,
smell
a
the
lot.
flowers.
Ferdinand, a lot of bull.
Ferdinand the Bull, who liked to smell the pretty flowers, and he was alienated by the other cattle on the farm because he wasn't a cow, he was a bull.
Yes.
And so I was named after my great grandfather, who was a Puerto Rican immigrant who migrated to New York City, and God knows when. But DeJesus is the official Catholic last name, but everybody knows me as Freddie. They refer to me fondly or
and just
otherwise.
before you end, can you just say what your current title is and what
my
you're
current
doing in
title?
life?
My current title at this point in time is I am the Associate Artistic Director of the Florida Dance Theater, which I have been for over 15 years. And I am currently the Creative Artistic Director and founder of my own entertainment and production company called Just Fierce Productions.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, and with the musical notes, we have Monica Drake.
And I'm Monica Drake. I'm the events manager for the Downtown Lakeland Partnership and novice artist, and love art. Glad to be here. Want to help out.
Awesome.
Dave Collins, and I'm a artist instigator.
Hi, I'm Randy Borden. I do Lakeland TV things and support these guys.
Yeah, and we haven't done that on a lot of our episodes in the past, but I wanted to give a shout out to Lakeland TV because it's pretty awesome that we can do this here. And
Can we swear on this podcast?
Holla!
Keep it to a minimum.
I wanted to say-
We have friends that are watching that.
Is
Okay.
bitchin' okay?
Bitchin' is that's a good one.
That's
Kinda
positive.
Like-
surfer friendly.
Super positive.
Surfer.
friendly.
I don't feel like we have any surfers that are listening.
That's
but
how
if-
I would have
Okay,
classified
okay.
it.
Yeah.
I'm a surfer.
Surfer friendly.
Surfer friendly.
I surf the internet. Does that count?
That's what I mean. Surfer. This is a new day surfer.
Well,
So who's our guest?
our guest is
It would be me.
Ferdinand DeJesus.
I'm so glad to be here. I've been
He's looking at his phone right now.
I've been
Listening audience.
spending time with Lakeland
My
TV.
name is.
And the work that I've done with Lakeland TV has been pretty awesome. I've had several fantastic experiences connecting also with Mr. Dave Collins and some of the things that he's been bringing to the downtown community, being a bit of a roustabout in the downtown area. And I like to participate in any kind of roustabout behavior. I'll start with my journey to Lakeland, which created quite a stir in 1998.
Whoa.
I landed here in Polk County at the Greyhound.
So what?
Wait, you got dropped off by a bus?
I got dropped off by a bus here in Lakeland.
Did they
What
pay
made
you
you-
and
You
give you a
came
pack
from-
of cigarettes to
You
get
came
here?
from New York on
It
the
was
Greyhound?
scary. No, actually, I've done that ride. That sucks.
That sounds terrible.
I don't encourage anybody doing Greyhound for more than 4 hours.
So what made you get on a bus to go to Lakeland?
I got on a bus to come to Lakeland because I met the artistic director of Florida Dance Theater, Carol Irks, while I was in Miami in residency at the what is considered to be one of the best dance festivals in the country. It is the Florida Dance Festival, presented by the Florida Dance Association. And so I was brought in as an sort of like a leadership intern to the festival. There were a lot of students from New World School of the Arts from different universities that were interning, and so I sent them a letter asking, can I teach at the festival? Because I thought, well, I'm just getting out of some pretty amazing contracts in New York City with the Metropolitan Opera Ballet. Was kind of like the last crowning glory for me in New York City, and I had finished that gig, and so I ended up on my mom's couch in Miami and was looking for something to do. I had several months before the next gig, and I reached out to the Florida Dance Association and asked, can you hook me up with a teaching gig over the summer while I'm kind of hanging out with my mom and my family? And they said no. We filled all of our teaching positions already. Sorry. But, you can come here and you can just kind of be an employee / intern, and you take class for free. You can network. So I was all over it. I was like, sure, I'll do it. So I was in Miami that summer at the Florida Dance Association's Florida Dance Festival, and I met Carol Irks and Lloyd Whitmore. And Lloyd Whitmore and I had worked together in Washington, D.C. at the Kennedy Center for his dance company called the New World Dance Company. And
I've heard of that.
Yeah, New World Dance Company. And that
Nice.
was in the 90s. That was like in the early 90s. And so as
Freddie, how old were you?
how
then?
old was I there? I was a sweet pea. I was maybe 14 or 15.
Wow, really? You were young.
Yeah, whatever. I was in my 20s. I was in my 20s.
Which end of your 20s were you at?
I was at the early end of my 20s.
The early end, so you were like 24?
I was like 21, actually, hanging out in many bars in downtown D.C. in the DuPont Circle area,
Nice.
where I became pretty well known and pretty crazy, because those were the early 90s in DC. And so I created a sort of a nightlife persona there, as well as in New York. But that's another story. That's the nightlife.
The
of
buzz in DC.
Yeah,
kind of life.
that's-
I used to
that's-
live in DC,
yeah,
so I
yeah,
understand.
That's the nightlife. And there was a place called Tracks in
Yes,
DC
and it
that I
closed
was-
down when I was in high school, but I know.
There you go,
Tracks.
sister.
I do.
So I was the door boy wearing
Oh.
shorts made of pearls. And,
Oh, what? You can get those?
Yeah, I made them myself, actually.
I made it
I want
myself.
a pair of those.
And I was on a swing. I remember one night being on a swing in the
Okay.
middle of the club. It was, so those were some great times, and I did those projects and moved on. Met Mr. Whitmore, who I know fondly as Lloyd, and he supported me. He was a mentor to me, and he relocated here to Lakeland and was working with the Florida Dance Theater as the artistic director. And they offered me a job. They were like, you want to come down and do some teaching and do a nutcracker, which most dancers know how a good nutcracker. So,
Not another nutcracker.
it's the season to crack some nuts and make some extra change to pay the bills. And so that's what I did. I did the Florida Dance Festival. That got me through till June. Went and did this other gig, which made it all the way through to the holidays, and then came back to Lakeland, and for the first time to do this nutcracker.
Now, I want to understand this picture. You went from pearl pants
Yes, pearl
to
trunks.
Polk County.
Pearl pants
Yes,
in
I had-
DuPont
I had
Circle.
Pearl pants to
Pearl-
Polk
I
County.
had my pearl trunks on
pants to
and
Polk
And-
County.
in DuPont Circle.
And
There's
the
a
art
So did
story
your
there.
mind kind of explode?
Pearl pants to
I became
Polk
horribly
County.
depressed. I was horribly depressed. It was my first experience with antidepressants.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what I had stepped into. I felt like I was in, as Lloyd and I fondly called it, Pleasantville. For anyone who has
He was like,
seen Pleasantville,
Freddie, where
we
did
were
you
like,
go?
okay, this is like the nightmare before death. It was like, what is this town? However, I became fond of it. I decided to come back, and I was offered a position at the Rochelle School of the Arts, where I started teaching as Mr. DeJesus. The
Mr.
Mr. DeJesus, the very eccentric dance teacher at the Rochelle School of the Arts, as I was called by many of my fellow employees from the Polk
That's a
County
great
School Board.
designation.
I thought that
Eccentric?
it was pretty appropriate.
Hell
that I,
yeah.
would
I
be
wish
the
I got paid for being
dance
eccentric.
teacher. Yeah, and I stayed there for as long as I could bear. And then I went running back
Because you
to New
couldn't
York
bear.
for my life. I thought, I'm going to die, so I need to go. And I left, and I went to New York City. And it was interesting. New York was different at that point, because I had kind of already experienced a small-town life and the speed of everything was just kind of, it became annoying.
Was this pre 9/11? After 9/11?
This is pre 9/11.
Okay.
Yeah, this is pre 9/11, and then I came back.
So
because
was this one like New York and downtown, like that like became Disneyfied, you know?
Yeah, New York City became like,
Yeah,
you know,
it's just
Times
like,
Square was
wow,
Minnie
what
Mouse
happened?
and Mickey. Yeah, yeah. So things changed. Artistically, things changed for me at that time because I was in a different headspace. I had already started teaching so much and working with young dancers. And so it was kind of inspiring to be in that environment where you're really working with this little mind that is so curious and so excited. And so I revisited that idea. I thought, you know what, Freddie, you got to kind of like get off your little opera high horse and your professional dancer high horse and kind of like get back in there with the kids. And that was, I think, one of the best things I did. I decided to come back. I went to Rochelle School of the Arts again, and things worked out. And then I decided I wanted to be on stage. I really started missing the stage. Florida Dance Theater was still a fledgling company. It really hadn't advanced to the position that it is now. So I left again, and I got a great job in Dallas, Texas, dancing with the late Bruce Wood, who is a fantastic choreographer for the Bruce Wood Dance Company, which is now called the Bruce Wood Dance Project. Company is out of Fort Worth, Texas, so I commuted daily from Dallas into Fort Worth, and I spent 2 years dancing for the Bruce Wood Dance Company, which was one of the most amazing experiences of my career, to work with somebody like Bruce. Bruce was very sick at the time. His health was in question, and he decided that it was time to fold the company. So that was in 2003, and that was when I decided it was time for me to either to go back to New York or to come back to Florida. During that time, Carol Lurks and I had been really bonding and staying connected to each other, talking about the company and all the work that we had invested in Florida Dance Theater, and she invited me to come back. She said, you know, if you come back, I'll at least match.
What year was that?
That was in 2003. That was the summer of 2003.
And so how did you see the art community in Lakeland at that point when you decided to come back? What was your view of the art community, having come and gone and hither yon? Now, what was your view?
Well, I think that I definitely saw some advancement and some change when I did come back, and I sat with Carol and I kind of looked at where Florida Dance Theater was in relationship to other organizations in town, like the symphony and the theater and the museum, and I knew that for the potential for those organizations to have grown in the way that they had grown, I thought, well, then there's tremendous potential. I mean, I'm looking at an artistic community. It's got at least 4 points. It's got, you know, visual art in terms of a museum. It's got theater arts in terms of community theater. It's got music in terms of a symphony, and it's got dance in terms of a dance company. Well, you go to any major city in the world, and those 4 components exist in those cities. You can go to China, and there will be the symphony, there will be the theater company, the dance company, and the museum. And so I thought,
It's a mark of culture.
it is a mark of culture. And I thought, you know what, I really am interested. If I'm being invited by the woman whose vision started Florida Dance Theater, and she sees that I am a part of that vision, then I had to honor that, because wasn't anybody else offering me an assistant artistic directorship in anywhere. So I knew that it was the universe calling me to kind of like bring something new and interesting to Florida Dance Theater and to Lakeland, because I knew that the role that I was going to be playing as a resident artist here, a working resident professional artist, was going to impact the community. So I just picked up and came back.
So how do you see it change now? How do you see what, I mean, you know, that's what got you there, and there's a whole lot of space in between that. But now we're up to now. What's Freddie doing? How is Florida Dance Theater? What's happening in the dance community today?
Well, and I would have to say that Florida Dance Theater has made tremendous strides in the last 15 years since I've been involved at Florida Dance Theater, and that's because there's been a push, and instead of one person pushing the stone, there have been 2, and then 3, and then 4, and then now it's a village of, we're all pushing rocks uphill as a unit, and we're getting further than we did when we first started. We've got a festival now, the Celebrate Dance Festival. That was just a vision. We have
when is that?
The Celebrate Dance Festival has been happening now for 3 years, and it will be happening April 25th and 26th at Branscombe Auditorium and Florida Southern College, and on the Lake Mirror Promenade in downtown Lakeland, with a free dance concert for the public provided by the City of Lakeland and Florida Dance Theater.
I'm nosy. I'm
Yeah.
nosy.
Yeah.
I want to go back a little bit further,
Okay.
and I want to hear a little bit about your inspiration for becoming a dancer in the first place.
Oh, wow. Well, that started with a lady a lot like Carol at Florida Dance Theater, and that's kind of like the tradition of dance, is that you kind of meet this person that plays a catalyst. And so this person is amazing, and most people don't believe the story, but it's a true story. Her name was Nanette Bearden, and Nanette Bearden was the wife to Romer Bearden, who was a Harlem Renaissance painter in New York City.
Awesome.
And Mr. Bearden was at the studio every day that I danced. From the age of 14 was the first day that I rang the buzzer to Nanette Bearden's Contemporary Dance Theater, which was on the 5th floor of a building up the street from the old LaGuardia High School of the Performing Arts, which was known as the Fame School in New York City.
And
No
did you
way.
have support from your family for this action?
That was kind of questionable. Like, my mom was not really excited about her Puerto Rican son wanting to be a dancer in a dance company of modern or ballet or anything. She didn't really understand that. She herself wanted to be in the Navy, so her idea of
That's a
being an
divide.
artist, she was like, what are
Yeah.
you talking about? What are you going to waste your life? You're going to throw your life away. And, coming from a community that, and we're talking 19 shit.
19 shit.
That was a good year.
Okay, shall I say it? 1985. 1985, I'm commuting from Brooklyn, East New York, into Manhattan. And my mom was excited that I was interested in a career in journalism, communications. So it was much more exciting to know that I might be reporting the news than the idea of me being an artist or a dancer or a thespian or anything that I really got excited about. And I was always getting excited about something that had to do with the arts. I wanted to be in fashion, and I wanted to go to design school. I had all these ideas of these artistic things I wanted to do. And when it came down to schoolwork, my grades were good, but I was an artist. I'm an artist, and that's really what I wanted to do. So I danced for Nanette. I ring the buzzer, right? I go upstairs. She offers me a scholarship, and I'm a scholarship student at the Nanette Bearden School of Contemporary Dance. And my mother decides to, rip me away from that and bring me to Florida in 1987. And so we came to Hialeah, Florida in 1987, and those of us that have seen Miami Vice know that New York City was the crack jungle, and Miami was still doing cocaine.
Blazers and
they were still
T-shirts.
snorting coke and on South Beach.
Everywhere.
So, I went from the crack jungle to the cocaine to the cocaine waters of Miami and South Beach. That was intense. And then I decided after finishing high school, I would return to New York City and find Nanette Bearden, who would give me back my love of dance. But while I was here, I went to the Dillard School of the Performing Arts, where I was actually more involved in theater than I was in dance. I found dance classes at Dillard because it's a performing arts school in Fort Lauderdale. And I would commute via bus from my high school, which was MacArthur High School, and I had a great theater teacher.
Arts and Transit.
Arts and Transit,
Right.
yeah, they would move us on a yellow bus over to Dillard from Hollywood Beach, Florida. We go to Dillard, and then they'd bring us back to Hollywood Beach. I did that for as long as I could. Graduated high school. Literally ran away from home, and ended up on my grandma's sofa in Brooklyn, crying, please don't tell my mom. I need to dance. And my grandma told my mom that I was there. And, my
course,
mother was
yeah.
like, what are you going to do with your life? You're throwing your life away. You should go to college. And I said, I am going to college. I'm auditioning for Alvin Ailey. And it's a college. And she was like, well, okay, great. So she had no idea, and ignorance is bliss. And so I went to audition for the Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater in 1989, and I received a full merit scholarship from the Harkness Foundation.
Awesome.
And I got to study underneath some pretty amazing people, and I'm actually very proud to say I'm one of the few dancers that actually knew Mr. Alvin Ailey, and he called me by first name on a daily basis because I sat at the front desk as a part of my exchange.
Was that rare, or the other people are like, hey?
Other people, he'd just kind of walk past you as you were in the school. But if he knew you, he'd acknowledge you and tell you to, give him something to eat.
But you had to work for it.
You had to work for it, and he had to really get a shine to you.
I like the professors like that. You got to earn it.
Yeah, Mr. Ailey was amazing. And so then, unfortunately, I also got to participate in Mr. Ailey's funeral when Mr. Ailey passed away. He was really sick, an old guy at the Ailey School at that time, and after that, I moved on to complete my scholarship program at the Ailey School. I did 2 years on full merit scholarship, and then I did 1 year on a work exchange. And after that work exchange summer, I got offered a full contracted position at the 19 years old at Philadelphia Dance Company, otherwise known as Philadanco in Philadelphia.
Nice.
And I lived in the hood in Philly. What's up, Philly? Shout out to Philly people.
So they do put Cheese Whiz on Philly sandwiches.
They put Cheese Whiz on Philly sandwiches.
That's
now.
what I
Don't
hear.
play.
That's a real
Don't
one.
Play. And there's this yummy thing called Scrapple that we had for breakfast on our sandwiches in Philly.
That sounds delicious. I don't know what it is. It sounds fun to play and to eat.
And Scrapple, and I was like,
Scrapple.
what is that? And they were like, some Scrapple, man. I had me some Scrapple. It was a done deal. But I lived off of Preston Street in Philly and near the Philadanco Studios, actually up the street. And Joan Myers Brown was a huge influence. After Danco, I ended up leaving and going to D.C., where I danced with Mr. Whitmore, who was a Philadanco alumni. I did that for another 2 years. The company folded, and then I returned to New York, Florida, kind of slummed around a little bit, and then ended up getting an amazing opportunity to dance for this guy called Donald Byrd. And Donald Byrd had a company in New York City that was called Donald Byrd the Group. And if you were a dancer who was borderline psychotic, it was a good place for you.
Sounds like a good
because
group.
Donald Byrd was borderline psychotic at the time. And I wanted to be a part of that crazy group of dancers that everybody was terrified of because they said that we were pyrotechnical. And I thought that was a really interesting word to
explosive. You're explosive.
add to the dance world. They were
a-
like, and the New York Times referred to
Great
us
phrase.
as pyrotechnical. And I auditioned for Donald's company after I kind of quit dancing for like almost 2 years. It was like a year and a half. And a really good friend of mine saw me at a Foot Locker where I was working because I can pretty much sell anything. And shoes are pretty easy to sell to everybody because everybody needs shoes.
Unless you don't have feet.
Unless you don't have feet, then I can sell you some nice gloves or pants or something. So I sold shoes. I sold tennis shoes at Foot Locker. Good friend Earl Mosley, he'll come into the story again later, tells me, hey, you need to go to this audition. Donald's looking for dancers. And I'm like, dude, I'm like a fat mess. I haven't danced in like 2 years. Like, I wouldn't even put tights on this body right now. You got to be kidding me. He's like, look, it's 2 weeks away. Just go and take class. Here's a card. You can go and take class here for free. So I'm like every day, gung-ho, like going, trying to get myself back in shape. And I get this amazing, like, cat suit unitard body thing. It's like something that like a scuba diver would wear. So it like sucked my body into it, and I was like, this is amazing. I think I'm gonna really wow them. And I had a near-death experience that day. I did wow them, and it was incredible. And I got hired amongst hundreds of dancers that auditioned that day, and I got to dance for Donald Byrd, who then created what is known as the Harlem Nutcracker.
But did you die?
I didn't die. I almost died later on when I tore my shoulder.
Coming to you live
I
from
tore my
beyond
shoulder
the grave.
From beyond the grave. Yeah. Donald was that guy. He was, he's now the artistic director of Spectrum Dance in Seattle. And Donald is an intense human being. And so the Harlem Nutcracker was created. He used the Duke Ellington score for what is known as Nutcracker Suite. We got to do Los Angeles. We were on the Jay Leno show. It was amazing. Oprah Winfrey then hired him to choreograph The Color Purple on Broadway. And I was one of the early assistants for The Color Purple on Broadway, but I couldn't because I was stuck doing the opera for him. And, you know, the story just kind of keeps going with more dancing and me ending up in Dayton, Ohio with the Dayton Contemporary,
goodness.
the
Oh
Dayton
my
Contemporary
goodness.
Dance Company in Dayton, Ohio, freezing in the winters of Dayton.
You're just a butterfly.
I am a
Yeah.
butterfly. And
Yeah.
that was exciting, you know. Dayton was cool, but then again, it all led me back to the sunny side of Florida. Like, I just kept ending up here.
In listening to all this, you know, one of the things I'm picking up is that, well, number one, like, you're really a learning person because you mentioned lots of people that you really like to learn from.
Yeah,
But
for
I'm
sure.
also curious about the values, because the values that causes you to like want to integrate or be involved with the community and then grow that community are a certain set of values. And so where did you get those from?
I think that those actually came from my involvement in the development of what was considered to be the High School of Writing, or the Graphic Communication Arts department that I was engaged in initially as a teenager coming into high school in New York City and being exposed to lots of educated and very driven individuals who took us tons of places. Our school was not by any means ordinary. It was a small class of maybe 16 of us at the High School of Writing. So here I'm walking into a horrible place with lots of metal detectors and stuff, and then eventually was able to become a part of the High School of Writing. I didn't realize I was walking into a big machine, but inside of that machine there was this microcosm, and it was the High School of Writing. And within that structure, I learned about like having an idea and sort of like expanding on that idea. And the teachers that I had were thinkers, and they were also revolutionaries in a sense. A lot of them had been involved in the civil rights movement in New York, and they were older women and men, Black, Puerto Rican, Jewish, Korean, Chinese. My teachers were a huge rainbow of diversity and of different outlooks, and they really challenged me as that High School of Writing experience, I would have to say, was by far the most influential. It connected me to dance in a way that by the time I met somebody like a Nanette Bearden, I understood the value of someone who had created legacy, or someone who had...
And solidarity.
Yes.
Solidarity is so important in the arts.
It was a huge influence on me. As soon as I met Nanette, it was like I wanted to know who she was. I wanted to know who her husband was. I wanted to learn everything about what they had laid down because of my writing experience, because of the experience I had at that school. Research was a part of us doing projects, so we had to be eager to learn about people and learn about where does this art style come from. Why does Picasso paint this way? And we had to write about that. We had, so it was not just, it was observation and.
That's a wonderful question that I have for you, and I don't mean to cut you off, but I've been thinking about this because for a lot of people, dance is kind of a nebulous concept, right? It's kind of like postmodern art. Like, where do you go with it? And there's so many different types of dance. So, how do you see that from your perspective and the experience that you've had? How dance and theater and everything else you've done makes such a difference in the community, because it does. But people have a hard time sometimes understanding where that comes from, and a lot of people have a hard time they struggle with art, the concept of art. I mean, we have such a right-brained Western concept of reality, and everything is beyond time. The train gets there on time. We got to go to work, and da-da-da-da-da. And it's like you have to make time for your art, your craft, your imagination, all of that stuff.
You take me back to my some of my earliest childhood. I was always a creative child, and because I work with kids and I look at them all the time, I'm a people watcher. I'm a watcher. I observe the things that are around me.
We're drilling down into the core of who you are is what we're trying to do, and like get a sense of where you came from.
And
how
the
you
creative,
became
I
who
was
you are.
always creating. I was that kid who you couldn't shut me up. You couldn't stop me from. I would make other kids create things and then watch them and criticize it.
Were you the director as
I
well
was-
as the
I was-
creator?
I
You
was
were
the-
the creative director?
I was the creative director. I was engaged in the activity. The toys even had storylines. There was a whole.
What is the earliest memory of this director?
The earliest memory of this is, where I'm talking preschool, and we're talking kindergarten. I remember getting sent home from first grade because I wanted people to how everyone went in and out of the closet for me had to be more orchestrated, and it was something that I was really uncomfortable with. Sort of there just being.
So you were into movement.
I was into movement, and I wanted people to go through the desks in certain types of ways because it was linear for me, and so then it was like design. Like I would rearrange the furniture.
It was like a cerebral feng shui.
But it was natural. It was natural, and
Yeah.
I see it in young
Yep.
people now. Still, it's a natural instinct, and I think that it should be encouraged. My grandparents were very strange in their encouraging of my creativity, and
Because a lot of parents would be like, "You need therapy."
well,
Yeah, why are you trying to micromanage people?
Yeah, and so then there was that, it was kind of like, well, he's bossy or he's controlling, you got to talk to him about that. He can't, and as the oldest child in the household, it was kind of like, oh, he's got the oldest child syndrome, or he wants to boss everybody around. But it was, as it kind of started progressing and I started growing.
You're like, no, that's where beauty is.
I felt a need to create. There was just a constant need to create, even if it were, creating something in the dirt with twigs, and there was just this constant need to create and to gather information. There was always stuff in my room. There was always these pods of things that represented my creative stuff, and I didn't want it to be moved. I didn't want it to be touched.
Don't go into Freddie's
I have
room.
books and journals now that are the same way. It's like, this is my stuff, and I'm being really creative with this, so please don't move it. And choreography for me was always about like poetry and expression. It was.
I love that you say that, because part of my question was, my sister-in-law does modern dance, and there are different facets of dance, but they're all like visual art or writing. It's all a communication.
Absolutely.
It's all symbolism.
Absolutely.
And so I think it's important for people to understand that there is an expressive facet for them somewhere in this. If they look at dance and they go, I don't know about dance, I just like football, there is choreography in sports.
There's choreography
choreography
absolutely.
Everywhere in the world. Every day you see it.
Yes, and if you think about, choreographers and amazing people like Jose Limon and Martha Graham and Merce Cunningham, and these are just a few of the icons who have created legacy, they saw movement in everyday things. They found movement. They dissected the things around them to create movement. And as an artist, and even if I were painting it, I'm still dissecting it. I'm observing it. I'm reevaluating how it's happening. Where is it coming from? Where's the intention behind the movement? And those are all things that people have PhDs and master's degrees in. And some of us that don't have PhDs and master's degrees going, and we're like, wow, people just kind of sit around for hours and talk about, I'm going to touch my nose, and what was the intention, and how did it, what was the motor, the mobility, and so how much space was there between, and all of that is a part of, taking movement and dissecting it and creating a whole dance about touching your nose. And then it evolves. Picking your nose. Picking your nose would be more interesting.
But it's beautiful because it's incredibly psychological. It's incredibly psychological.
And the focus that it takes to roll an egg across an entire stage and time it as if it were movement and choreograph it is something that I say, I had that experience working with some very avant-garde sort of, what in New York we call it the downtown sort of postmodern, Andy Warhol type of choreographer who said, Freddie, it's nothing but you rolling an egg across the stage with your nose. Stop trying to turn it into this big thing, And I'm like, well, I had in my mind, I had to create some other sort of thing to make it bearable. 5 times a day during rehearsal to roll the stinking egg across the floor, which then turned into a golf ball because
you broke a lot of eggs.
I broke a lot of eggs.
When are the big
That's the thing?
Busby
That's the thing?
Berkeley productions
That is a
coming
thing.
back?
Someday we'll choreograph a piece, and I'll show you all how to roll an egg across the stage.
I can't
With
wait.
your nose?
With
No,
your nose.
how about you
All out.
do an actual live streaming? And we could stage
we got a
this
camera.
right
We got a
on the
stage.
thing.
The egg
We got
roll.
a stage.
The egg roll dance.
And you could do the egg roll.
Freddie Egg Roll
Freddie
2015.
DeJesus
Easter's
egg
coming up,
roll
man.
Dance.
This is what we.
This will
We-
be
we
the
call it
moment
March.
I'm waiting for.
Well,
I'm
the March
sure.
of the Egg.
This is what
we'll
we
do it
gotta
next
do.
month.
We
March
gotta-
of, March of the
We gotta
Egg.
get Chase on board and get his drone and do a big, like I was saying, Busby Berkeley
the Busby
thing.
Berkeley thing.
A
with
huge production with his
drone.
drone.
Oh, the
rolling.
I will
the
be a
March of the
volunteer
Eggs
for
2014
that. That'd be so awesome.
across the platform
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Munn Park.
I would like to revisit that talent. I think that I put some effort into that.
Do you
was
really think that you
several
could be the
weeks-
champion of nose egg
several
rolling?
weeks of nose egg rolling.
I can see that out in the art.
And then
I
there was
would
another
also
dance.
volunteer to do
We
that.
were potato picking, and we had potatoes in our shirts, and there was another potato picking dance, which
if-
I've also mastered at
What
the
if
art
we
of picking
did this
potatoes.
egg roll outside on the parking lot on
Outside
a
on the
Saturday when
parking
we're
lot
doing
on a
Art
Saturday.
City Arts,
That I might have to
or on a
consider
First
that.
Friday?
I might have to take the challenge of
The
being
Art
the
City
guy
Arts
who-
might be better for that, but
I'll have to get back in shape for my egg roll.
I'm
let me
trying to
ask you-
imagine. Like, I feel like the tip of my nose isn't sandy enough for this.
That brings up a question. Get back in shape.
Get back in shape.
And today there's a lot of people shooting models untouched.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
I'm a fan.
And there are larger people playing roles than what used to play them.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think, as long as you're physically fit, regardless of your physique,
Mm-hmm.
that you can still be as dynamic a dancer just because you can't meet the old stereotypes
Mm.
that you used to?
That you used to. I think that it is very possible. There's an amazing dance company called Paradigm, which you have to be 55 years old to get into that company. Those dancers have proven that, it's not really about age or what your body is like, but it's about the fact that you are this amazing dance artist. And the work that they do is incredible.
Your experience,
Their
in
experience
how to do
is very
continuity
visible.
of movement and
Yeah.
all these things that
Yeah.
controlling that
all
movement at a different
professional
level.
egg
All
rollers.
professional,
Like-
all
Egg rollers.
they do a chair dance where they just laugh in these chairs. They sit across from each other and laugh, and they do this movement that is based,
Laughing
it's
yoga?
called the laughing chair dance. I
So
don't know what this
can we do that here in Lakeland?
I'm sure that we could. I'm sure I could
Can you
lead some.
teach
you wanna
us
be a
how
part
to
of
do
that,
the
Dave?
laughing chair dance?
We could do a laughing chair dance for sure. We could do any kind of movement research that we wanted to do that was going to be an opportunity for us to make a statement using movement and dance as a means to do so. And for me, it doesn't matter what your body is like, or even if you have danced or haven't danced, that is accessible to you as an artist.
I think that's so important. I mean, going back to the whole like Western right brain kind of movement and on time things like sitting in your chair and typing. There's so many people that have lost touch with how their body moves, how important it is to express yourself through your body movement. If you're just stuck, you get so much tension.
Monica, are you talking line dance?
I will line dance. I will do
Line dance.
anything to get
Yeah.
people moving. Like, I don't care if that's what floats your boat, whatever. But I think there's so many people who are just so out of touch with their body.
Absolutely.
They have no idea, like, how great it can be, cathartic it can be
It's
just to
amazing.
move.
I've been invited back for like the last 4 years to the Leadership Lakeland course to do a exercise with their class, and dance and movement is the one that I get invited back every year. They love.
It's
this-
bizarre.
this-
I got to say from an outsider, it's bizarre for an organization to insist that the members of that organization dance.
Yes, it's their way of making them understand the work.
Well, you'll
that
never
goes into
belong
the
to my
arts.
organization then.
Yeah, the work that goes into
But
the arts. That's
isn't that like a weird point of standing to say, hey, you belong to this organization, for our meeting today, you have to move.
You will
Yes,
dance.
it's a part of the graduation process, and the graduation ceremony. They do all this tour, and then I have to make.
Are
them
you
dance.
saying it's kind of fascist? Like
Well,
you
I
will
mean,
dance, and
they
then when
have
they
to-
dance, they're
they
like,
have to
I
gain
love
an
this.
appreciation
I'm not
for the
saying
art of
I'm not saying
dance.
it's fascist. I'm just saying it's
they
it's
move their-
interesting.
If they move their arms in a circle,
Because if I wanted to belong to a group of people that danced, I would just belong to a
You'd
group of
belong
people
to a
that
group of people
danced.
that dance.
No, the
So
concept
many
is you
things
belong.
in team building are
Yeah.
about taking someone out of their
Comfort zone.
Yes.
and having to do
Yeah.
things that they wouldn't normally
Yeah,
do.
but they're
that
never gonna go back
awakens
and
them
do it
up.
again.
No, no,
But
that's
some of them,
not the purpose
some of them
it.
find an interest and decide that little Susie, you know, their kid or they might want to try dance, and they're like, oh, that was fun, and you know, kind of enhances the cultural landscape of just exposing the, you know, I hate to use the word the average Joe, but
You're
it is
right.
what it
It's-
is.
it's all about
exposing the average
exposing,
Joe
yeah.
to a finer appreciation for the arts.
And probably in a safe environment though, where like nobody's going to YouTube you dancing, right?
Randy would dance.
I
Well, but
will
I'm just
dance.
saying-
I'll dance. Oh,
Randy
Freddie
dance.
see me dance.
I've seen Randy dance.
I'll dance.
Freddie.
Randy will do an entire postmodern impressionistic performance for
Here's
you.
a here's the most interesting dance I've ever seen coming from the 1920s. I want to know if you've ever seen it. It's called the Totentaz. It's the witch dance.
The Totentaz.
And I don't believe it was Isadora Duncan, but
It was somebody from that era.
Somebody
the
from that
Isadora
era. And so, okay, you need to dance. Everyone needs to dance or express themselves. Bike, yoga, whatever,
Movement,
right?
Move your body.
But getting back to the like whole conversation before, like, I thought the question before was like, can you be an average sized person and do some ballet? It's like, no, you really can't.
You really
I've seen
can't.
people
You're
like
right.
defy gravity,
You're right.
and it's like, I can't jump like that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
but that doesn't go against the fact that like people need to get out there and move.
Right. There's all kinds of movement for all types of people.
Yeah.
And I think that you're drawn to whatever it is that kind of like, you know, kind of makes you feel a certain type of way.
Mhm.
But I think ballet by far is a acquired taste. It
Oh,
is
God.
something that somebody who is, you know, really aggressive with high extension and some of the things that go with ballet, that takes a lot of work. That takes a lot of training. That takes a lot of time and a lot of investment, athletically as well as artistically. There are other forms of dance that take a great amount of athleticism and artistry in another way, in another type of way of moving. You're talking about, you know, modern dance or African dance, hip hop dance, jazz dance. You know, I've seen dancers who are pretty good at all the styles, and I've seen a fabulous ballerina kick off her point shoes and put on some tennis shoes and be an amazing hip hop dancer. And it's because she made the investment of the time that goes into, I would say the same with, you know, painters and musicians. Kind of like the more time you put into your craft,
Speaking
the
of
better it's gonna
painters
get.
and musicians, let's make a quick segue.
Yeah.
How do you think dance can benefit Art City Arts?
Because our purpose, like we're just trying to grow a nice community of people that are innovative and creative and have a real sense of community over that.
Yeah.
And so that's partly why we invited you here, because we know you like the arts, and we probably need a little more movement in what we do.
Currently, we don't have any dancers in the group, like
was awesome.
actively, you know, out there.
Out there dancing in the group.
Bazing.
The,
Well,
the idea is we have to work together in communion, and we exist in
Communion or
Communion.
community.
community.
No body of Christ. here.
Communion is
I like
a very
good
fine
communion.
word. Yeah.
I don't feel like the word is overextensuated whenever I
No,
say
I
it
think it
the
was
way I
right.
No,
originally stated.
we can commune together without.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yes,
commune
we
is
can.
good.
Regardless, I love saying regardless because everybody gets perturbed with the word.
I love the word regardless.
Well, it's only when people start saying irregardless, and it's like that's not one.
Yeah,
word.
but when people say irregardless, that's the funniest point of saying the word regardless of whatever stereotypes or hang-ups or whatever you have that's hanging you up from this initial conversation. We need to work together. Like that's our whole drive.
Yeah. What's
Like-
your big butt?
Our big butt-
I think my big butt comes from the idea of dance only being something that can be seen in the proscenium arch. And I've been, since I started dancing, I challenged that because of what is now Just Fierce Productions, or what is my entertainment production company that is ultimately about fusing nightlife with the arts.
Yeah.
Trying to find a way to connect people and their nightlife life into an artistic experience. So I would take a ballet dancer and maybe put them in the middle of a nightclub, and
That would be really
all of a
beautiful.
sudden you're watching
I've
a
seen it.
beautiful
It's
dance
awesome.
happen, right? Or bring out a classical violinist after the rave, and shut everything down and
We
let
had
that
this conversation, Freddie.
Yes, we have, and I've been doing that. That's kind of like what I've kind of been priding myself on, is just kind of like bringing art to some of the most out of the ordinary places,
And
or using
yeah.
nightlife dancing in a
Speaking
club.
of bringing art to an unusual place, like we're bringing some art on some buses here in a couple of
I'm
months.
super
Yes,
excited
I'm
And
about
so-
that.
I'm so excited for your involvement.
Yeah,
very
what's your
excited about
involvement
that.
in these Art City buses?
Well, I
Art
think
and transit.
the art
Art
and
and
transit.
transit.
I'm considering presenting something that would be unique to Lakeland, to Polk County, but not unique to a larger city, where the transit systems are used there by, of course, a majority of the people riding the buses are minorities, so they are going to be either Black or Latino, or socially, it's a low-income community, right? So that, most of these people don't have cars. And within that community, there are subcultures, right? And the subcultures of like hip hop and voguing and
Explain. I don't know the term.
You don't know the term. So hip hop
Polk
would
County.
be
Really?
it would be like youth who listen to rap music, and they are the kids riding the buses with their headphones on, and they're engaged in the culture and the music. And so inside of that culture, there's a subculture, and that subculture is a gay, lesbian, bisexual, or transgender culture. That culture aspires to a world called the ballroom, and in the ballroom
I've heard of these. They're fantastic.
There are these competitions that are had in different inner city parts of places like Orlando and Tampa, Miami, New York, Washington D.C., Philadelphia, and those are our gay kids riding the bus. And those kids vogue.
It's a great art
like
form.
Madonna. Strike a pose. There's nothing to it, right?
Strike a
So
pose.
Madonna, Madonna brought it to the mainstream in the late 80s,
Well, she
early 90s.
stole it from the community.
She pretty much stole it from our community, and a great guy by the name of Willie Ninja, who was very well known. And so I would like to sort of revisit the old 80s form of voguing on subways and on buses as a means of us expressing ourselves. I was a member, and I still am a member, of the House of Extravaganza. And if you're interested in learning more about that, you can watch a fabulous documentary that won many awards by Jenny Livingston called Paris is Burning.
It's a great documentary.
And
by
it
the
is
way.
the 101 on ballroom culture and what that whole experience is going to be like. And so I'm going to bring a little bit of that to the buses.
Well, you're certainly
I love
bringing a lot to the things we're doing.
Yeah.
We're also challenging you
Okay.
because a lot of our activities and things that we're doing related to Art City Arts are STEAM activities, which are science, technology, engineering, art, and math. And so so the Art City Ants is a challenge to not only build an ant, but also produce some sort of 3 to 5 minute video clip about ants.
Nice.
And so could you share any ideas you might have about how you guys would do that?
Dancing ants.
Dancing ants, or the idea of the of the
Ant
ants
cracker.
sort of like moving things, right? The ants are
Pick stuff up and move.
taking stuff with
Yeah.
them. So maybe I might
Eggs.
have them carrying things. They're moving
Rolling
things from one
eggs.
place to the rolling eggs. The ants are
could be-
rolling. They
the
could be
ants
rolling
roll-
eggs.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to vogue with eggs. I don't.
If
Do
you
you
built
think
them out
it
of
would be boring
Legos,
to talk about the kinetics of dance?
The kinetics of dance?
Yeah.
Wow, now you're getting really scientific, right? Yeah.
Well,
That's
but it's interesting, isn't it? Every time I bring these kinds of things up, people are like, I was in a meeting the other day, and someone was like, oh yeah, I remember we were talking about the next First Friday that incorporates all the universities coming down.
Yes.
And someone was like, we didn't know what to bring because, education is like, what are we gonna do? Just bring boards that are boring? I'm like,
right,
no,
right.
education is amazingly interesting.
Yeah, it is.
It doesn't have to be boring. I think that's the culture we need to get away from, is that everything that has to do with like learning something significant and profound is hard and not fun.
No, information is interesting.
It really is.
I love information.
So I can give you an example for that. So
Yeah.
we teach teachers how to be better STEM teachers, and we bring art into it also. But we had them build robots, Lego robotics, NXT robots,
Right.
but they had to make them dance.
Nice.
Nice.
They had to program them,
They had to program
We
them
could
to
do
dance.
They
that.
had to
put on a
program.
song, and then they just like hopped around, and
You
know
could
in
dance with a robot.
they
could.
they were
We
in
certainly
tune with the
could.
beats.
That'd be
We
Yeah.
certainly
super
could
sweet.
dance with robots.
Yeah, the robot could have danced, and then you react to the robot and dance again.
How's about a collaboration between the person who's maneuvering the robot and the choreographer who's maneuvering the dancers?
That would
Excellent.
be
Dancers and
amazing.
the robots.
You can either
Yeah,
do
they
them.
have different
Awesome.
sensors. They have like
And they could each have their own symbols. The robots and the two gangs.
Yeah. This is
Well,
good.
anyways, we
this
have
is
about
exciting.
we have about 12 NXT robotics kits.
Okay, so that would be 12 robots. So
That
we
would be
have
really
12
cool.
dancers.
That would be really cool.
We could definitely make that happen.
12
Right.
dancers,
When do we want
12
to do that?
robots.
12 dancers and 12 robots.
Well, we probably have to teach you some robotics. That's my
Yeah.
guess. Unless you
we
already
need to
know
get
some.
some students to
Well,
help build
who,
the
who
robots.
does the robotics? We would work with your students because your students would be the robots.
Yeah, because I have an engineering class and they can build them.
Yeah, so that would be the collaboration. The collaboration in order to commune with one another would be to bring the robotics professionals and the dance professionals together
Damn.
to create this fusion of ideas.
That would be fantastic.
And yeah,
That would
I
be
would love that.
That would be so
Is your-
amazing.
I've
Is
actually
yours-
been wanting
Do
to
you
do
know-
that for a really long time.
Is your schedule
Dance
open enough
with a
to come visit
robot.
my class?
My schedule is open enough to come and
Awesome.
visit your class and to begin to.
And he's been there before.
Yes,
Yeah.
I have been. So that's something that needs to go on my schedule ASAP.
That's
Cool.
really cool. I can't wait to see that.
This
Right,
is
well,
like
my
the
schedule
last
is
third of
crazy.
the conversation.
Hey,
Yeah, and so in
You're
the latter
late.
part of the conversation, I can talk about my schedule with
Netza's
lots of
here.
amazing things that I'm doing. Nets is in the house, but so as far as the dance festival happening on the 25th and 26th of April, which is our Celebrate Dance Festival, I'd like to maybe try and find a way of inviting Ant City Arts. Is that what we're called?
Art
Is
City
it
Art City Ants.
Art City
we have
Ants?
Art City Arts, which is like the big group, but one of our events is Art City Ants, and we sometimes call ourselves Art City Ants
Art
because we're
City.
just building a community.
Yeah. I'd like to see how we could still work on what we talked about, the video, and I would get some dancers to submit a video
Awesome.
to being involved in
There's
that.
$100 prize money put up for that
That'll
already.
be good. They'll be excited
Randy
about
put that up.
Nice. Go
Thanks,
Lakeland
Lakeland
TV.
TV.
Adding to the pot. But there's also this amazing place that is it is still like in its chrysalis, right? Is that what it's called?
Uh-huh, correct.
The chrysalis.
Before the butterfly
Before
comes
the
out.
butterfly comes out, and so this place
Well,
is
if we're
called
talking about ants, and it's larvae.
ants and larvae. Yeah, well, it would be kind of like larvae, and this place is called Art Farm Mosaic, and Art Farm Mosaic.
Oh yeah, actually,
is-
hold on. Let's just have a quick aside. What
Okay.
happened? Didn't you just have an event there?
I just had an event there. I had a.
Where's there?
There is at the Art Farm Mosaic, and
And
Art Farm
where is
Mosaic
that?
is out off of Tenorock Mine and Cumbie Road. Out there, it's a ranch farm that we are cultivating into what is going to be a art gallery and
this
center.
is in Polk County.
This is in Polk County.
Oh,
and,
that's
and what's its
great.
distance from here? Like where in Polk County
Combi
is this?
Road, we
Cumbie
go past
Road.
it.
So you,
It's near the Polk State College.
Yes.
Sort of.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. I've been working out there with Art Farm Mosaic. We just recently received our 501c3 status.
Excellent.
we are
Congrats.
Yeah,
We
that's
are
what's
now
up.
developing
job, man.
and building. We're working with a contractor, which is an interesting phenomenon, and we're trying to build out a
That was
gallery.
a nice way of saying that, by the way.
gallery studio and a shop. She wants a sort of a craft shop, a wood shop, and there'll be dance and art and music and all kinds of stuff going on Art Farm Mosaic.
Who is this?
And the founder is Haiti Dickinson, and she is a former dancer with the Florida Dance Theater, and I am the creative director, sort of like the planning director of the arts programming and activities that are going to happen there. But Haiti pretty much is she's like a horse therapist. She's not like a horse whisperer. I thought she was like a horse whisperer, but it has less to do with the horses than it has to do with the people that she's helping with therapy on the horses. And
Same
it's
thing with
pretty
dogs or
amazing.
anything. Yeah.
It's amazing. Like the work that she's doing, she's working with like autistic kids and
they
stuff.
really get
and
off the pigeon with
Yeah,
that.
it's really
yeah.
awesome.
That's
So
awesome.
I'm sort of like the art gallery that's right across from the barn.
I'm so
And so
excited
the
that this
horses are in the
is
barn, and we've got like all these acres
happening
that we're
here.
gonna plant fruits and veggies and
Yeah.
stuff, and sort of like get involved with all of that. So Art Farm Mosaic will not only have an on-site location, but it has an off-site location called La Casa de Amor, the House of Love.
Nice.
And that is the residency house located right outside of downtown off of Gary Road, which, if you know where that is, it's kind of by there behind Sykes. And then that house is going to be the artist in residency house. And so one of the artists that we have coming, hopefully, is Jose Martinez from Chile. And he is a woodcraft artist, and he's going to be there for 6 weeks in the house, and he'll be doing woodcraft art all over some of the wood in the house, and he'll be doing commissions because he's got like 4 commissions. And I found out that you can't ship art from Chile right now. There's like something going on politically.
Weird
You can't
embargo
ship
going
art
on.
from
Yeah.
Chile, so you can bring it. So he's got 4 commissions that he's got to bring. So he's going to bring those 4 commissions, and we're going to try and get him some more commissions while he's here.
I have to say,
That's cool.
your story from when we started here and you going, I don't know about Lakeland, and then going back and then coming, and then establishing this here is
Yeah.
kudos to you.
I love it. Thank
this
you
is
so much.
awesome.
Because it's going to be my own personal playground. I have
That's
my
right.
own motive behind the whole thing. It's like a great farm where I can create art and sort of like harvest my own fruits and veggies, which I kind of have a fascination with sustainability and preparing for the apocalypse. And I also
A prepper.
am really excited about this sort of artist in residence house where I can now begin to invite some of my friends from New York, who I think are amazing, and from Dayton, Ohio, and from Philadelphia and Washington, D.C., all the places that I visit. Now I can bring them here to
Can-
Lakeland.
Yes.
Can I go live there too?
Can
Yeah, I
you
wanna
come-
go.
You want to come and hang out?
Oh, yeah.
Just
Yeah, it's
hang-
gonna be
just
pretty
go hang
amazing.
out.
It's gonna, it's an open, it'll be a membership, and if you become a member and you want to sort of like be involved, it's an open door policy for any of you people.
Very
That's
cool.
Joe
for
and I
sure.
will come make beer on site.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, that's
Now we're
perfect.
talking.
And
Now
I'll be
it's a
happy.
monastery.
That's a craft.
You know, the monks are
The monks.
Craft
the
of
monks
beer.
will
Whole
be
new kinda
making
craft.
beer and
Yeah. At the.
I'll be happy to come look at your water and energy needs and see if we
Oh,
can
that'd
figure
be
out some ways to make that stuff more sustainable.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's pretty much where we are with both of those right now. Just kind of touring people, but the official tour will happen on April 4th, and that is going to be at
Oh,
Art
that's
Farm
coming up real quick.
That's coming up
Yeah.
real soon, April 4th at Art Farm Mosaic. We're going to sort of like take people on tour and have people sign up if they're interested in being on the board of directors or
is that Good Saturday?
and that might be Good Saturday, or I think it's the day before Good Saturday, April. Yeah.
It's
Sábado.
Wednesday. It's Wednesday.
Is it Wednesday? April Cuatro's on a Wednesday?
No, I'm sorry, Tuesday.
April Cuatro's on a Tuesday?
No,
We
this
said,
is
oh,
Saturday.
April. I'm sorry, I'm looking at
It's a
March.
Saturday,
that's a
April
Saturday.
Cuatro. Yeah, before Easter Sunday.
Yeah.
There we go.
What time?
It's gonna be a day event, so it'll probably be about 1:00 in the afternoon.
Do you have
We're just
music?
gonna. No, we don't. We don't have anything yet. We're just
We
kinda,
got a
like, trying to
resident
round
DJ.
people up,
Yeah,
to
would definitely
create a
be. I'd love to come
situation.
out and bring some people to expose over there.
Yeah.
Artists,
And you might
artists.
want to talk about some of the color runs and stuff happening out there too,
That's right.
because we've got a
Oh,
lot
that would
of.
be beautiful.
It's a ranch.
That's
It's
right.
amazing. We've got a
Okay.
lot of great space out there,
Like
good
that.
parking.
I would love to come as well if
Please,
it's possible.
please.
Okay,
Anytime
so when you go,
want,
you call me and let us know.
me
so
know, and I can take you
hitch
on a
ride with-
walkthrough.
Okay. Done.
All right.
So that's pretty much it.
I don't think
Much nightlife fun. If you want to learn more about my stuff, you can check me out on Facebook, Ferdinand DeJesus Extravaganza with no E in parentheses, or you can hit me up at Just Fierce Productions. I'm also there, and I have a bunch of fabulous parties coming up. I'm doing a Studio 54 event to do some fundraising, and I'm also doing a white party with no racial pun intended, but you have to wear white to the party. It's not a party for white people. You have to wear white.
He's done a red party here at the studio
I did a
before.
red party, and it
This
was
doesn't-
amazing.
This doesn't involve Netza in any way, does it?
I'm hoping that Netza
Actually,
will be there.
I think that you were doing my event, right? Are you
Yes.
still doing that? Okay.
I hope, yeah, it's
I
all.
lost my
I
voice
gotta
from the
make sure
past
I
event.
get it on here on this calendar because this is looking kind of crazy. But Studio 54 is March 28th, and the White Party is April 10th, and those are both happening at our new venue at Frescoes, which is the underground spot.
Oh, I haven't been there yet.
Yeah, Frescoes in downtown Lakeland.
Is that
Awesome.
a
Most
that's a
people don't know.
space?
We
That's a
gotta-
space.
We got that underground spot there at Frescoes.
I gotta
and
go there.
Frescoes is sponsored and
This is where the
supporting
New
me
Year's
with
party was,
raising
correct?
some money. Yeah, it's same place where the New Year's Eve.
What are you
party
raising
was.
the money for?
We are raising the money for Polk County Gay Pride and for Basic Needs for Life, which is an organization that raises money for people infected and affected by HIV here in
Wonderful.
Polk County. So I'm involved with those two fundraising events, and
there you are.
hopefully more people will come out and support a lot of the other things that we're putting together. And I kind of keep my calendar posted on the Just Fierce Productions page for any of those evening events. And then, if you want to know more, just holla at me. I'll gladly
All right, we're
invite
we're
you.
at an hour right now. Do you guys want to just call it a day?
call it.
That was
Hey,
awesome.
Let's
can I-
call. Let's at one business thing.
Yeah.
Jessica, who is not here tonight, asked what our thoughts were on Saturdays because there seems to be no attendance on Saturdays.
Oh,
You know,
as
For Art City Arts?
Yeah.
Has
and
Saturdays
she
dropped
said-
off?
So
My
she's-
first comment is it's been cold. And so if
Oh.
it's not the time of year, you would fill it up. Now it's
Oh.
becoming the time of year that
Gotcha.
people would
Yeah,
be
it might
coming out.
be. It
Yeah,
might be
it's
worth
for
it.
for going out and shooting and stuff.
Yeah, we
at the
no.
events?
She runs a little art
event.
sale on the edge of the property there,
Okay.
right in front of.
I wonder
farmers
if
markets.
Jim Luna has numbers on like when the farmers market gets the most, traffic. If that would help at all.
I think it's about the artists being prima donnas.
Well, I'll be
Like,
honest.
I-
The last few months, I make it a priority to try at least once to come out and be a part of it. But I will, I do pay attention to the Weather Channel, and I do have a threshold about, just wind and chilliness
Sure.
makes a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just been this
When-
circumstance.
When's our next First Friday? We do a First Friday event as well, right?
That's
Yes,
March
and
6th.
that was her question. Should we stay with just First Fridays?
Or continue trying Saturdays.
sixth.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, another thing to do would be like if you had a more of a structured event that would be like on a first Saturday or something or
Yeah.
second Saturday, and you would have an artist event there
Okay.
instead of every week. So it's just a suggestion of
Gotcha.
an idea.
Because I know I've been planning for the past month. I know I missed 2 meetings. I've been working, but I've been planning with other artists to come out and do more entertainment at on the first Friday. That was a plan. But if we want to do Saturdays, my artists are more than willing because that was the actual date that they wanted to do it on. He's like, I don't know about Friday. I said,
Well, the thing about Saturdays is Saturday morning,
yeah.
and it's sometimes for the last 2 Saturdays it's been freezing,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
legitimately freezing. Last Saturday, I think it was like 30 degrees at like 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how many people want to recreate like the same event 2 days in a row. I mean, that's a lot of turnover.
Oh,
to
yeah,
say,
yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna do another first. When you
Yeah,
have them
there's
on
no such
first
thing as
Friday
first
or
Saturday.
Fridays,
Yeah,
right? And you
that's
have them
ridiculous.
again at like 6 o'clock. It's like,
So like maybe first Friday and second Saturday.
Well, like for
Yeah.
instance, on April 25th, we're going to be at Art City Arts because that is when we have the Art City Ants contest and the video
I gotta go,
contest.
you
So
guys.
that Saturday, we will be there.
Okay.
And so we're hoping other artists would be there, but I'm also going to be there, and I will help kids make ants and whatever. We'll have a good
Right.
time out
So maybe it should be calendar based.
Yeah,
You
completely
know,
calendar based.
Calendar based, and say these are the days that we're going to do it. rather than trying to do it all the time? Is that
Yeah,
what we're saying?
Well, for Art City Arts, as far as like the Saturday morning sale, I feel like that should just be a carte blanche open event because you never know. Outside of weather permitting, obviously asterisks to the side, weather permitting, because sometimes, especially whenever it's cold, we don't really do that well with the cold here in Florida. And most artists.
Why don't we talk some more?
Yeah, we'll talk. We'll talk some
about
more.
this and sort this out a little bit.
Okay. All right.
Are we
Hey,
calling it?
Freddie.
Yes, I got
Ready?
Bye.
Freddie's right
Thank you
now.
for coming.
Freddie.
We're calling it a day.
All
All
right.
right.
Art City Ants out.
Okay. Bye.
I'm sorry you're all stuck.